Hello and welcome to this edition of Miles Ahead, and this time we're looking at the Ferrari Portofino M. So we'll dive straight in with some facts and figures. It is fitted with a 3.9 litre twin turbo V8 which produces 612 brake horsepower and 760 newton meters of torque. Now all that is enough to propel this car from 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. So it's not slow, even if it is aimed at being sort of entry-level Ferrari. Starting price for this car is £175,360. Now the model as tested here, being a press car, it's fitted with a number of different options, brings the total price of the model tested to £249,520. Now I'm not going to point out every option, but I'll point out a few of the ones that I like as we go round. There's a lot of carbon fibre on the exterior, that's all optional extra, and there's a few bits and pieces in here as well which I'll point out. So we'll have a look around the outside, we'll have a look at the interior, and importantly we'll take it out for a spin as well. But let's start with the outside. Now I think this is a really good looking car. So it's pitched at the same level as the Ferrari Roma, although this is almost like a California version 2. So this being the Portofino M, it's the sort of M stands for Modificata, so there's a number of upgrades over the original Portofino which have elevated this car. They've already sold out in the UK actually, so it's obviously hit the mark with customers. So one of the options fitted here are these 20-inch wheels. They are dynamic forged diamond. Now Ferrari doesn't go larger than 20-inch wheels at the moment, although I'm sure that will change when the Purisang, the SUV, arrives later this year / early next year. Come on, you can see those brake calipers, they almost look like they're going to touch the wheels on the way round. They just fit in there. Yeah, I think they look really good, these wheels, really like them. The colours, grigio, sort of silver, looks sort of sky blue in the right light. Now one of the options, you've got the Ferrari badges adorning the side, that's £1,056, so that's fitted to both sides. I think again it's probably something you'd want on there. I think it does look good. 20-inch wheels at the rear as well. We come around to the back so you can see the carbon fibre rear diffuser, that comes in at over £6,000, and then the sport exhaust covers there as well. I think they're £450 extra, but they look good and they sound good as well. So there's quad exhausts on there as we can see, and we'll just complete the view of the outside by coming round, and you see the shields on the front there. Another thing down the front here, so there's a bit more carbon fibre in there. Again, that's part of the optional extras as well. Come round and there's carbon fibre at the front there as well beneath the number plate. So yeah, all in all I think this is a really good looking car, but let's see what it's like inside. So this is the view from the driver's seat of the Ferrari Portofino M. Now this, without doubt, is the best seat in the house. It's a very driver-focused environment. So one of the first things to note straight off the bat is the carbon fibre driver zone and steering wheel with LEDs. So this strip along here, it's like that Formula One lighting system. So as you rise up through the revs, it goes red, 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 blue when it needs to change gear. And that's when you can bring the paddles in at the back there. And it is, yeah, they do demand to be used, and they really do add to the experience. And there's quite a lot going on here, so it takes a little bit of getting used to, not least the indicators being here. Again, I've been looking for the stalk, but they're on there as they are with all Ferraris these days. And you've got the Manatino down here, so you've got wet, comfort, sport, race and ESC off. I haven't been any braver than to put it into sport so far. Windscreen wipers are operated here, which means the adaptive cruise control is operated down here, and there's your lights as well. Another option to note, we come over here, you've got the JBL Hi-Fi, that comes in at £3,552. It is really loud, which is handy when you've got the roof off, means you can carry on hearing your music. These seats are really comfortable, so they're ventilated seats, they're £4,416, but they're really adjustable. Dive into the menus here and you can mess around with the seats and all that sort of business. The infotainment system itself, so if we start it up, get that immediately, that lovely rumble from that V8. So the infotainment system itself, I mean, it's not going to pull up any trees, but nor is it going to be a deal breaker. It works. And yeah, that's what we can say. It's easy to use, it's intuitive. You know, you can dive in and out of the menus easily enough. I mean, it's perhaps not as clear as some other ones, and this is a generation behind what you find on the Roma as well. But I mean, like, you know, the sat nav and that sort of thing. I mean, it all works, which is good. And you also get over here, you get the passenger display as well. That's a £3,500 extra as well. So you can display to your passenger how fast you're going, and they can choose the music. If your partner's anything like my wife, you probably don't want them knowing how fast you're going sometimes. But you know, there we go. Some people like it, and you get the Portofino M badging there. Just to complete the inside look, we'll just have a quick look back here. It says 2+2, but as you can see, not much in the way of rear seat room, but there is ISOFIX back there, which is handy, so if you do need to get a child around, you can. And you also get a bit of through loading into the back. I had to nip round to the boot. There's a button that releases both of these, and yeah, that's handy if you need to get larger items in. Now on that, we will have a quick look at the boot space now. So depending on whether you're travelling roof down or roof up, the boot space is larger or smaller. So that is in position at the moment for having the roof down, so you can't load anything at the side. But if you are travelling roof up, you can lift that up, and that creates a lot more space, and that works into the through loading through there. So, you know, elements of practicality which make it a very viable GT car. But crucially, it being a Ferrari, what's it like to drive? So, what's the Ferrari Portofino M like to drive? We'll start with that engine note. Not bad. It does head for the horizon pretty rapidly, this car. As mentioned at the top, 0 to 60, 3.5 seconds. But it's got a real split personality, this car. It's quite a multifaceted drive. So, we're in sport mode at the moment. Flick it back to comfort, and it just tones everything down a bit. And for long journeys, so we've been up to the Cotswolds this weekend using it as a GT car, it's really quite pliant, really comfortable. The suspension on really bad road surfaces is astonishingly good. You see a couple of potholes and you think, oh god, you know, this is going to hurt, but actually it does an excellent job of just riding them out. Really, it's just quite impressive. And even in sport mode, actually, it's not too firm. It never, you know, it does have the bumpy road button setting, so that when you've got it in sport, you can have it in the softer suspension setting as well. But you never really sort of feel like you're getting buffeted about too much. So we're out on a B road at the moment, and it's really nice in this setting, I must say, because you can just cruise along, and you can flick it to sport, bring the flappy paddles into play, and just let it sing. It really does go. One thing to note, so it's the 8-speed gearbox. You do need to use the paddles. It doesn't change down as many gears as you would like, so it goes up to 8th gear very quickly, very relaxed sort of car. But when you do want that bit of performance, you've got to bring the paddles into play. So we're in auto at the moment. It's in 6th gear. Floor it. It goes down to 3rd, but really you want it to go down into 2nd in that state. So drop it down to that, and then off it goes. So yeah, the paddles are well worth using, and they're quite engaging to use as well, because you get the nice pops on the downshifts, and it really brings you quite close to the drive. Actually, it's quite an engaging car to drive, and as you get closer to the limit as well, the steering, it's got a nice amount of feedback to it as well. As with all Ferraris, the steering is quite sharp, but it's very precise, very easy to drive. So yeah, all in all, it does feel like a Ferrari. Yeah, sure, it's softer edge than some of the competitors, some of its stablemates. We reviewed the Roma last year. I'll put a link to that video in the description below. Now, we only had a couple of hours with the Roma, whereas I've had a weekend with this. So often find with good cars, I have a moment with them. There'll be a drive, and that happened for me yesterday in the Cotswolds. Had the roof off, going round, had the flappy paddles at play, and it just made sense, because you go down the single track roads just admiring the view and comfort, and then you get to sort of wider roads, flick the Manatino round to sport, and then you can really enjoy it. It's a really engaging car to drive. It's definitely a little bit softer than the Roma. The Roma's probably a little bit more driver focused, if that's the right way of putting it. It's not to say that this isn't. This is a great place to be. I've thoroughly enjoyed driving it. So I guess the choice between the Roma and the Portofino M is really if you want a convertible or not. If you're not bothered about having a convertible, the Roma's probably the choice, because you get a bit more practicality, there's a bit more storage space and all that sort of thing with it. But I really like this. It's a tough choice, isn't it? Would you take the Roma or would you take the Portofino M? I did like being able to take the roof off. I'm no racing driver. It's plenty quick enough as is. It's plenty engaging enough. yeah, really enjoyed having it. It was just great as a GT car. We've got all the stuff in it for the weekend away, and it's just got so much power and performance, 612 brake horsepower to call upon when you need it, and yeah, it's really good, really engaging car to drive. You could get lulled into thinking it is just a sort of soft edge GT car. It is that, but it does also have the supercar performance to go along with it. So yeah, and you know, the other thing, that the styles, the aesthetics of this car, I think Ferrari's design team they're on good form at the moment. They're not producing ugly cars. I think this is really good looking. I really like the Roma as well. Yeah, been really impressed with it. It just, yeah, like I say, multifaceted drive. It's got many strings to its bow. So yeah, really impressive car. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, and please also consider subscribing. We've got loads of videos on the channel, and we've got loads more coming up as well. So yeah, please hit like, please hit subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Thanks.